It is now my great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Jon Hein. Jon is one of ours. He graduated with a BA in Communications and History from the University of Michigan in 1989. Jon is a producer on The Howard Stern Show at Sirius XM Radio, where he has hosted a variety of programs, including the wrap-up show for the past decade. Jon first came on the scene when he coined the term "jump the shark" and created the website Jump the Shark in 1997. He has appeared on numerous television and radio programs, been profiled in popular magazines and newspapers, and authored 2 best-selling books. Jon hosts Fast Food Mania on the Discovery Channel, Destination America, and the Collectibles Show For What It's Worth on VH1 Classic. Jon has been married to his college sweetheart, Debbie, for 24 years. He has 2 daughters, Rachel and Emily, and his bio says a little white dog named Molly who accompanies him at the drive-thru. His daughter, Emily, is about to become a Wolverine when she enters the university in the fall. To say that Jon bleeds maize and blue would be an understatement. Please join me in welcoming Jon Hein.
Thank you very much. I'll show you pictures of the dog on my phone later after I'm done. Thank you, Professor Douglas, for inviting me to speak at the commencement of the Department of Communication Studies, class of 2015. It's a special honor to be here with Professor Douglas stepping down as chair of the department after a decade of such effective leadership and a much better record of success than Brady Hoke had. Let's hear it for Susan and all that she has accomplished during her tenure. Now, I'm honored to follow the faculty that spoke, as well as student speakers Alyssa and Christopher, who, like all of you, are just one keynote speech away from receiving your certificate. Now, the last time I was wearing this outfit, I was sitting on the 25-yard line in the stands of Michigan Stadium, next to my future wife, who's right there, on a cold, windy day in late April 1989. We stood up, we moved this tassel from left to right, sat down, and we graduated. Not the most memorable send-off. But the last time I was on this stage, it was January 1991, and I was delivering the first line of a sold-out performance by the comedy troupe that I was touring with. I was standing right there, as a matter of fact. The comedy troupe was called Just Kidding. Really, it was called Just Kidding. And that was a memorable send-off. Which brings me to today, as I plan to combine both of these Michigan memories into giving you, hopefully, a memorable send-off. I'm thrilled that Professor Douglas and all the distinguished faculty wearing silly hats up here hold this special ceremony for the Department of Communication class of 2015. Give yourselves a round of applause. You guys deserve it. That is such a great way to suck up to a crowd. Bands do it all the time when they open the show with, "Hello, insert name of the city that we're here in tonight," and everybody claps and cheers. Or I could have shouted, "Go Blue," or Harbaugh, or anything derogatory about a certain school in Columbus, Ohio. You know, truth be told, I originally planned not to use an O, H, I, or another O in my entire speech, but it would have been really, really short. And Michigan students actually possess the ability to use the entire alphabet. I love Ann Arbor. I am thrilled to be back in the city that changed and shaped my life in more ways than one. I met my wife, Debbie, 30 years ago at freshman orientation in the lobby of Alice Lloyd. And now our daughter, Emily, who's sitting right over there, will be a freshman this fall. Go Blue. My older daughter, Rachel, she's a junior at Penn State, and we still do talk to her. But that's only because she didn't go to East Lansing or Columbus. I experienced so many magical moments here in Ann Arbor. The genesis for a website I created and later sold to TV Guide happened at 807 South Division back in 1987. I drove by that house on the way over here, and shockingly, it has not changed one bit since 1987. And the beautiful Michigan Theater. I saw Stop Making Sense for the first time on a screen behind me and still marvel at David Byrne's suit. I saw Midnight Run for the first time and randomly shout out lines from that classic comedy. That's when Robert De Niro was really, really funny. And I performed right here on this stage in 1991 in front of a satisfied full house, and I hope to have the same luck today. When I graduated, I could not leave this place. The comedy troupe I mentioned, well, we were headquartered in the Mulberry Row apartments right on the Ipsy border, and I got to spend some class-free quality time in Ann Arbor. I highly recommend this option. Sorry, Mom and Dad, but it's fantastic. And I'm telling you all this not just to justify while I'm standing up here, but to illustrate what Ann Arbor means to me and what it's going to mean to you. Today is the culmination of 4 years of hard work and, unfortunately, crappy football teams for most of you. Now look, Coach Harbaugh was quarterback when I went here, and the program is now in very good hands, and you had a really nice run in basketball, so you can't complain too much. You're minutes away from becoming an official communications graduate at the University of Michigan. But what does that really mean in today's world? Does having that degree matter these days? All the people over here giving me nasty looks saying, yeah, you better believe it matters something these days. And it does. It takes a special person to make it here. It starts with getting accepted here in the first place. All those first-year early morning courses you didn't want to take but passed anyway, making your way through the Diag or riding the bus from North Campus, dealing with truly profound changes, like the move of Crazy Jim's Blimpie Burger from South Division over to Ashley, and the snow. You guys should get a separate diploma just for surviving the snow. But what carried you through this and so much more was your passion to succeed, to get that piece of paper you're 2/3 of a speech away from receiving, to become a victor, and a valiant one at that, one of the leaders and the best. Now, when I look at my life and the success I've been fortunate enough to have, it's been all about following my passion. Growing up, I like to watch a lot of TV, eat fast food, listen to the Howard Stern Show, and talk about sports, and I made a good living doing all of that professionally. So that's my message. Watch sports on TV while eating fast food and listen to Howard. Not exactly the cap and gown inspiration you were looking for, right, Mom and Dad? I'm half joking when I say this, though. You want a career in communications, and now is the time to follow your dreams. Look, I toured the country living out of a van for a year after I graduated, and everything turned out just fine. This is the time in your life when you can make bold choices and go for it. The spouse, the kids, the mortgage, car payments, and your own little white dog, maybe named Molly, that'll all come. Trust me, take advantage of your time now, right now, because it'll never be there for you again. I remember picking up a book at Shaman Drum. That's a campus bookstore that's now part of the MDen, I think. And the book was an annotated screenplay to the Steven Soderbergh movie, Sex, Lies, and Videotape. I'm sure that you encountered at least 2 of those 3 things during your time at the University of Michigan. There is a quote in the foreword of that book that has stuck with me all these years. Talent plus persistence equals luck. Think about that equation. I believe everyone sitting in this room has talent. So the real variable is persistence. That's what will make you lucky in life. Talent plus persistence equals luck. When my comedy troupe days ended, I settled in New York City and I looked for a job where I could still be creative yet pay some bills. I interviewed at a famous ad agency who created all those legendary Apple ads, and they asked me the question, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? My response? Nothing. I'm pretty happy with who I am. Well, I didn't get the job. I'm not exactly Don Draper. And it was the first of many no's that I would get. And these are no's that you're going to encounter as well. But don't let the no's discourage you. Turning you down will be their loss, not yours. And yes will be so much sweeter when it comes, and it will come. Write down the names of the people who say no and never forget them. Think of Arya in Game of Thrones. Cersei, Joffrey, the Hound. You'll cross paths later in life, and they'll get to see what they missed out on. And I'm not recommending you take a sword to them. This isn't Westeros, after all. Your yes will come, and my yes finally did come in the advertising world. I was hired as a media buyer for a different ad agency. The person who hired me, take a guess where he went to college. That's right, the University of Michigan. This was not the job I wanted. I wanted to write clever copy and craft a brilliant campaign. But that's not the way it works in the real world. You have to pay your dues. And the harder you work at paying these dues, the more you'll get noticed and wanted. While I was at the agency, I reached out to TV production companies and performed in a comedy troupe in New York City on nights and weekends. I wouldn't let my creative passion die. My day job paid the bills. My night work fueled my dreams. After 2 years at the agency, I responded to a New York Times ad looking for a PR marketing manager at a, quote, irreverent test prep co. I sent an irreverent response to the irreverent test prep company, and the Princeton Review brought me in and hired me. Now, test prep is not what I went to Michigan for. And it didn't bring back fond memories of struggling to get the standardized test scores you need to get into this place, but I was surrounded by young, very bright, fun-loving, determined people, and I absolutely loved it. Lesson learned: always try to surround yourself with people who are smarter, funnier, and just as passionate as you are. It raises your game. At Princeton Review, I wrote a How Smart Are You quiz for Esquire magazine, and that led to a meeting with Oprah Winfrey. Now, she wanted to give the quiz to her live studio audience, so I stayed at the luxurious Omni Hotel where all guests of the Oprah Winfrey Show stay. That was for Mom and Dad. I'm dating myself a little bit. And the taping went so-so, with one person in the crowd just yelling out the correct answers and the crowd just agreeing. So afterwards, I was escorted over to Oprah, who said, "Hey, John, I'm really sorry those people yelled out those answers. The quiz was great." And just like that, I was talking to Oprah Winfrey. Another lesson learned: whether it's Oprah Winfrey or Howard Stern, treat anyone you meet like they're a regular person. They respect that, and they'll treat you the same way. After all, we're all just people, although some might have a few more bucks and television exposure than others do. A few years and 2 kids later, I left the world of test prep to start my own computer training co, and I needed to teach people how to create a website. So I hearkened back to my Michigan days and thought about extending a conversation I had with my close college friends when different TV shows started to go downhill, or as we called it, jump the shark. This conversation happened with my college buddies a decade ago, and now it was going to change my life forever. That's another lesson. Don't lose touch with your college friends and forget about these times. You never know how it will help you later in life. I built the site jumptheshark.com, and it became the thing to check out on the web. It wasn't my day job. It was my passion. I happily updated that site every night for 10 years of my life. Jump the Shark led to press interviews, writing 2 books, creating 2 television pilots, and appearing on many radio and television programs, including The Howard Stern Show. Jump the Shark was never my day job. It was my creative outlet. You might end up at a job that isn't what you dreamed of, and you need to pay your bills, but it's critical to maintain that creative outlet. Never let it go. In 2006, I accepted an offer to become a radio host at SiriusXM on the Howard Stern channels. It took over 20 years, but my day job was finally my passion, and I never stopped following it. Talent plus persistence finally equaled luck. Now, the question I get the most is, what's Howard really like? He's one of the smartest and most talented people I've ever met. He taught me to focus on good ideas, not the people they come from, to always have the audience in mind and to respect their intelligence. Whether he's interviewing Madonna or a whackpacker, Howard treats them with the same respect. I learned not just radio, but the ins and outs of entertainment from the best in the business. Surround yourself with better people than you, and in turn, you will get better. For almost a decade, I've been waking up at 4 in the morning to help make people laugh. Through this exposure, I was chosen to host Fast Food Mania, a TV show that chronicled the history of fast food, and for what it's worth, a show that profiled memorabilia collectors around the country. When hosting Fast Food Mania, I got to travel to Corbin, Kentucky, and witness the birthplace of Kentucky Fried Chicken. I went to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and sampled the original Krispy Kreme. And at Dairy Queen headquarters in Edina, Minnesota, I made my very own Oreo Blizzard. I tell you this not to make you hungry, although you're sitting there and probably can't wait to get something to eat right now, but to illustrate where your passion and dreams can take you. I didn't think the Discovery Channel would actually pay me to teach people that if there are 4 or more cars at the drive-thru, it's quicker to park and go inside. But they did. And by the way, that's really valuable information I just gave you. Talent plus persistence equaled luck, and an extra 20 pounds. For what it's worth, I traveled to Third Man Records in Nashville and spent a day talking vinyl with Jack White. I browsed Amoeba Records in LA and evaluated what an original Walking Dead comic page would be worth. Concerts I saw at the Hill Auditorium and listening to music with my buddies just a few blocks away from here on John Street led to those fantastic moments. Now, you might have missed these TV shows I'm talking about because you didn't scroll high enough on your cable channels. And I mention them not to brag about my Emmy caliber hosting ability, but how these are yet another example of passion pulling through. Recently, I've graduated from playing Stratomatic in my room as a kid and attending countless baseball games to appear on the MLB channel and ESPN as a talking head. This is the only way you will ever see me on those channels in a professional capacity. As a freshman, I was on the intramural softball team with a bunch of football players I lived with in South Quad, and that is the closest I've ever come to becoming a pro ball player. That spring, I went down to Bell Field to walk on to the school's baseball team. I took one look, and I realized I was way out of my league. I recognized my limitations, but I didn't let it damper my passion or enthusiasm. You need to be self-aware, but don't let your limitations hold you back. Build upon your strengths. Over the next few years, you'll encounter similar predicaments as my sojourn to Bell Field, and you'll probably reach the same conclusions, but don't let that get in your way. No one's career path goes A, B, C. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, but there are so many obstacles on that line, we end up veering all over the place. But that's okay. Adjust accordingly and use every advantage that you have. We all need all the help we can get. One of your largest advantages is surrounding you right now. I'm not talking about your generous family and friends. I'm talking about being a University of Michigan graduate. As American Express used to say, membership has its privileges. It's part of why you guys came here, right? There are a lot of alumni out there who yearn to spend 4 more years in Ann Arbor. We help keep the MDen and Moe's in business, after all. And we all help our own. Those 2 words, go blue, they're as powerful as a family friend or a glowing recommendation in the rough and tumble real world. Every one of us was in the same exact position you find yourselves in right now. I was just freezing in the stands at Michigan Stadium. Once you're in the door, you need to stand on your own merit, but being a Wolverine can help you get inside. Reach out to any Michigan grad who at the very least you'll end up with some worthwhile conversation and probably a connection or two. You never know. When I looked for that first advertising job, it was my Michigan degree that ultimately got me the nod. Now, I know how intimidating of a weekend this is for you all. You feel like a chapter of your life is closing, and let's face it, it is. Zingerman's becomes a memory instead of a meal. You can no longer sit in the student section, officially anyway, but on the bright side, you can walk across the diag and step right on that M. It's okay to look back as you're looking forward. I look at my daughter, Emily, who will be a freshman in just a few short months, and I feel so good about her future. Am I jealous? Hell yes, I am. Who wouldn't want to be in Ann Arbor for 4 more years? She's about to start what you've just finished. As they said it best in a film that I'm sure you studied, Dirty Dancing, you've had the time of your life. I am not going to attempt that Jennifer Grey leap in this gown and hat. I apologize. I'm also thrilled for you. I'm thrilled because you're about to begin the first 4 years of your adult life. You'll never have the freedom you have right now, and you should make the most of it. Now is the time to go for it. Nothing is tying you down or holding you back. Go to LA or New York and try and crack the industry. Look for fellow Wolverines to help you out. Or take that trip to Australia, drive cross country, take the 1,000,000-to-1 shot. Follow your passion. Let's face it, you don't need me to tell you what your passion is. It drove you to the seat that you're sitting in right now. And in the eyes of everyone in this room, you're already a success. It's up to you to make the most of that passion. People sense and seize upon your enthusiasm. Every time I talk to someone about their career, you can always tell how badly he or she wants it. And the ones who have the fire inside, who won't take no for an answer, who are looking to learn and do anything to get in the door, who ask intelligent questions, who smile, and who want to be surrounded by smart people, those are the ones who are going to make it. And those are the class of 2015 University of Michigan Department of Communication Studies graduates. Talent plus persistence equals luck. Go get lucky, and of course, go blue. And thank you for the privilege of speaking to you today.